Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson on Papa George by Tommy Emmanuel. As always, only the first part will be released on YouTube. For full access, you can check out my brand new website or my trusty old Patreon page. Both offer different experiences at different pricing points, so there should be something for everyone. For the tab, please do visit the website as you will get a discount if you order the tab through the link there. Papa George is Tommy's tribute to George Harrison, who Tommy refers to as the father of rock and roll. The tune is a wonderfully upbeat and joyful piece of music, combining a memorable melody with a driving and percussive backbeat. Getting that percussive backbeat going will probably be the main challenge here, but this song is the ideal stepping stone to more difficult songs in this style. Songs like Only Elliot, which is slightly more difficult, and Fuel, which is probably one of Tommy's hardest songs. Some people will also be happy to hear that I found an alternative for each and every section where Tommy uses the thumb over the side of the neck, allowing you to play the whole tune without having to use the fretting hand thumb at all. Ready? Let's get you started. Okay, straight to playing then. The guitar is in standard tuning, capo at the 2nd fret, and I'm using a thumb pick as Tommy did. Now, I guess it's also perfectly possible to play the whole tune without the thumb pick too. There are no special techniques that really require you to use the thumb pick all the way through the song. That being said, let me jump straight into the first verse. Here we go. That was verse 1. Most of it open chords, few chord shapes with the thumb over the side of the neck, and we're going to remedy or replace all of them if necessary. We start with an open string run. Open E string, 4th fret B string with the index finger, and then to the G string, 6th fret with the ring finger. Now, don't forget, always count up 2 frets because of the capo, and you play this with an overlapping effect. E string, B string, G string, and then you lift up the index finger on the B string and you pick the open string. All 8th notes, so if I count along, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 to the 1st chord. There are versions, earlier versions, where Tommy extends this intro with 3 extra 8th notes, and then you have to go for this fingering. Ring finger, 6th fret on the D string, pinky, 6th fret on the G string, index finger, 4th fret on the B string still, and an open E string. Then you start by arpeggiating up, just through that chord shape, D string, G string, B string, and then play the same open string lick, going down. In time and in the right place in the bar, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you end up on the exact same spot. See which version of the intro you like. I'm mostly going to stick with just that simple single note run in the beginning. Then I'm going to go through the first 3 chords really quickly before talking about the picking pattern. We start with an A added 9th chord, open A string, open B string, open E string, and in between 7th fret with the ring finger, 6th fret with the middle finger. Don't be tempted to play this with the index finger and the middle finger, because in a second you're going to move up this chord shape 2 frets and you're going to add the bass note. Tommy uses the thumb over the side of the neck, but it's also possible, if you don't like the thumb over the side of the neck, just to use the index finger. Even if you're not using the index finger but the thumb, still go for the ring finger and middle finger, because after that we're going to head for an E power chord. And that is when the index finger drops down on the 7th fret. On the B chord, again, 7th fret, 9th fret, 8th fret, plus 2 frets for the capo, and 2 open strings again. So B string and E string still sound open. And then the E power chord, open E string, index finger 7th fret, ring finger 9th fret on the D string, and pinky 9th fret on the G string, and again 2 open strings. The melody is just sitting inside of these chord shapes. For the first few bars, we're not adding any fingers. We have that run up with the intro lick. And you plug open A string together with the G string, and then the thumb pick to the D string, and then you perform a percussive tap. If you listen to these percussive taps on Tommy Emmanuel live versions, they sound massive. Don't be fooled, it is the pickup system. It is the built-in microphone that makes this tap sound huge and massive, as if Tommy's really hitting the guitar. These percussive taps are light in touch. You just click down on the strings. Sometimes in the next bar we're going to do it by means of a strum. And if possible, catch with the side of your hand, try to catch the bridge in this point. And if you have a built-in microphone, this is going to give that huge thump whenever you perform that percussive tap. I'm sorry, I have a bit of a rattling cable in my guitar. It got loose, so you might hear that every now and then when I tap the guitar. Those taps are always on 2 and 4. So you have 3, 4, 1, 2. That is where the tap lies. Move up 2 frets, pluck the G string and B string, and then on the third beat, you add the bass note, whether you're using the thumb or the index finger, whatever you like. So that opening section goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So what you do is double stop in front of the third beat, bass note, and then sometimes Tommy picks just the G string, sometimes he picks the G string and the B string again. That doesn't really matter that much. You have another percussive tap, and then you stick to the G string and B string, you add the pinky, heading to the E power chord, and you plug the same 2 strings again. In full, gives something like this. And now the last time we're trying to get a percussive effect by strumming down. So you have again the double stop in front of the beat, bass note, then you pluck an open string. Most of the time it's just going to be the B string. And then you strum down, but quite, let's say you're trying to get a little bit of attack out of that strum because you want that accent on the second beat again. And as you come back up from the strum, you try to catch another open string, preferably again the B string, but again, doesn't matter that much. So just that E chord. 3, 4, 1, 2. See, and as you strum down, you try to catch that string in the upstroke, not perform a separate movement when you do that. Then we drop down to the 4th fret. We're going to play that same single note lick again, the very same thing as in the beginning of the song, but now Tommy adds the thumb over the side of the neck for a bass note on the 4th fret. Again, thumb over the side of the neck isn't necessary here, but then the fingering becomes a little bit trickier and you have to play this. The lick is being performed with the middle finger and the pinky now, so that you get the index finger open for the bass note. So that is the second time around we can solve one of those bass notes over the side of the neck. That opening section, those first 2 bars sound like this. Do the exact same A chord. Maybe just for good measure, let me play it once without the thumb over the side of the neck at all. Index finger for the bass note, and again exactly the same thing. Then we head into the same 2 chords, A chord, B chord. B chord is going to be a bit trickier, A chord exactly the same thing. Now as you move up, now you need an open E string on top. This is a melody note now, so that one is important. So you again play tap, open B string, and now a full B chord on top, no longer using an open B string, but the index finger on the 7th fret. Again, 2 frets up because of the capo. Tricky part here is you're going to play the low E string, G string and B string at the same time, and then hammer on by flattening the ring finger that is sitting on the 9th fret on the D string and picking that double stop a second time. This is quite tricky, especially because it's high up the neck. You can solve this if you want by using 2 fingers, hammering on with the ring finger and the pinky, but then you're going to have to be careful with the muting in the next section. More on that in just a second. So those 2 chords back to back with a bar, and again another tap. And this tap in just a second is going to be up for debate. One time without flattening the bar but using 2 fingers to perform the hammer on. Which is by far the easier thing to do. There is also a last option, which is using a bar, which again feels even easier, but then you have to make sure that you don't accidentally hammer on to that open E string that is still ringing out. Now, why do you have to be careful when performing this with with those 2 fingers on top? Because Tommy uses 2 versions in the next muted part. Sometimes it's just a tap, but sometimes he likes to add a strum as well to make that double stop sound out even a 3rd time. So the easier version is this. And then just pick, you remove the ring finger or those 2 fingers again, and you pick the original double stop again on the 8th fret and the 7th fret. So that is just with the muted tap in between there. That's the next chord already, but sometimes Tommy also does this. And see what happens the second he removes the ring finger, he strums that double stop on the 8th fret, 7th fret, sounds it out. And then you get that melodic variation. For some people, this is an essential part of the song. That is why I'm including it, but it is a lot trickier for both the left hand and the right hand. So now we're strumming down, again trying to get one of those percussive taps as we strum down on the chord right after that hammer on. And immediately repick right after that. So strum down with the percussive part and then repick going up straight away after that. And then you head, as in the previous part, to an open string. This is a tough part, so if you're new to this kind of technique, then just use the first one, the silent tap, and then plucking the double stop. But if you really want that melodic variation, this is what you need to do. So one more time, the easy version. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So just the double stop on the G string and B string and heading down to the open E string. The tricky part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. The next section is just an open E string. You head down to a standard E major triad, ring finger 6th fret on the D string, index finger 4th fret on the G string, middle finger 5th fret on the B string. You play an open B string and then with the thumb pick, index and middle finger, just a full block chord. So coming from the B chord. And again, just a strum going down on the second beat. 1, 2. You repick the 6th fret on the D string. And then you head for the same chord you played before. Tommy does seem to take care not to release that ring finger. If you play this section without the thumb, then you're going to have to let go. There is no other option. You can maybe replace that one note with an open B string or an open E string. But if you can manage, then hold the ring finger down, grab 4th fret, 6th fret, 4th fret, this time with the pinky and the index finger, and play again the exact same winding lick. Those last 2 bars, one more time. And guess what? You end back up on the same A chord. So there was maybe a bit of excessive attention for that one B chord and the variation in the muting there, but apart from that, most of it is repetitive and still quite doable. Let's play those first 4 bars one more time. Heading to the same A chord. Things are even getting a little bit easier here, so the same A chord, same picking pattern. Tap. Now, middle finger to the 8th fret on the low E string, index finger 7th fret on the D string, ring finger 8th fret on the G string, a C diminished chord. You plug the D string and G string first, then the bass note, and then again the D string and G string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, to a C sharp minor chord, just a standard chord shape with root on the 5th string, bar across, 5 strings on the 4th fret, ring finger pinky, 6th fret, D string and G string, middle finger, 5th fret on the B string. You plug the G string and D string in front of the beat, then a bass note to the D string and another strum with a little bit of a percussive character to it right after that. Those first 2 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, then to an open D string, small chord shape, 7th fret with the ring finger pinky on the G string and B string and the index finger 5th fret on the high E string. Usually Tommy strums through that upper chord section or he rolls through with the fingers. Whatever you do, the D string is in front of the 3rd beat, 1, 2, 3, dropping down the index finger to the 4th fret, switching to the 7th fret on the B string, and then to an open E string on top. In time, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I forget, Tommy usually picks these 2 notes. I have the tendency to always perform them with a slide. So if you see me do that, it's just stronger than myself for some reason, but you can just pick both of them as well. One more time, maybe a bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Heading over to the 2nd fret for an A chord. Now don't go grabbing the A chord like this. Do use this fingering. It's going to make things a lot easier. Middle finger on the D string, index finger on the G string, ring finger on the B string, all 2nd fret. You're going to hammer on from an open B string to the 2nd fret while picking an open A bass string. And immediately remove that finger again. So A string, B string. At the same time, hammering on to the D string, to the open B string, and to the 2nd fret on the G string. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the rest is just open strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3rd beat is open A string, open B string, back to the open A string, and then we're going for A minor 9th, pinky 4th fret on the G string, index finger 1st fret on the B string, middle finger is still where it was from the beginning of the A section. Hold on to this chord, it stretches across the bar line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and No bass note on the first beat, you just hold on to the chord and you pull off on the second half of the first beat of the next bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. That is where the pull-off lands. Then just another open A string. You drop down the index finger on the second fret again, remove the pinky, back to the second fret on the G string, another open A string, an open E string, and then to an open E string down below. Just that second bar in time sounds like, oh sorry, that last bar in time sounds like this. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way ending up. Index finger is still on the second fret on the G string and you add the middle finger on the third fret on the A string. You're going to slide that down in a second, then play a full E chord. The timing in these last few bars is tricky, so I'm going to repeat that last bar one more time, then include the next bar and then count through that section separately, because this is something you're going to want to take care of. So one more time, just that bar on the A minor chord. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So again, a lot of notes that are bound across the bar line. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And the chord lands on the second beat. Those 3 bars on the A chord, quite tricky in terms of timing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then on the third beat, the same pickup line straight into verse number 2. The good news is you now know each and every verse of the whole song. There are practically no variations here, except for when we lead into the bridge, just one extra chord. Let me play those last, 6, 7 bars, and then recap the whole verse one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See, so in terms of timing, there's quite a lot going on in that very last section. Let me play through the whole thing, the whole first verse, one more time, back to front. Here we go. Straight into verse number 2. Let me play through verse number 2 right away with the magnet on the guitar, giving you a good look at the picking hand, and then we'll deal with that one extra bar all the way at the end straight away. Here we go. Okay, so what we have all the way at the end is just that very same run. You end up on that E chord, percussive tap, and then you add a bar across, let's say 3 strings, D string, G string, B string on the second fret, and you add the ring finger or the pinky, whatever feels more natural, on the 4th fret on the A string, together with an open E string underneath, and back to an E chord. In time, it sounds like this. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That is what we're heading for. And then you follow that up with a little pickup line heading into the bridge or the chorus, whatever you want to call it. That is going to be something for the next part of the tutorial. One more time, let's say those last 4 bars slowly and in time, and then you can practice until you're ready to head into the next section. Here we go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and into the first bridge. The bridge is going to be the only remaining part that you have to get down in order to be able to play this song in full. Take all the time you need for this first section, and I'll see you again soon in the next part of the tutorial. Take care.